You are in the Mighty Elk, I believe, where you had an arm wrestle with Sabella, a Goliath, who was doing quite well. And then Dragor jumped in, had a bit of an arm wrestle, won a couple of silver, and you all went to bed. Jobs are good. Next morning, the morning is lovely. You've all come downstairs, had your breakfast, or about to have your breakfast, just finishing up your breakfast. And you see a newcomer in the tavern that wasn't there before. And a small light travels across the tavern and lands upon... Describe
Iara.
yourself, Jenny.
A female elf with long, rich red hair and bright green eyes.
She clearly stands out a lot more than the usual lumberjacks and the early morning punters. You guys are just finishing your breakfast, as is she. 3, 2, 1, you're in the room.
She will look at the newcomers who are gathered with curiosity.
Do you know what they look like, Iara? Were you part?
Nope.
Cool. You see Becca. Describe Ellis.
You see a 5'7" human. She's quite nondescript. She's got long black hair with sort of grey streaks in it. But she's relatively young, about say 18, and she's got sort of stormy grey eyes.
And then you'll see next to her Dragor.
Is a 6'5" muscular gentleman with kind of ashen red skin, also dark red hair, which is longish and kind of like pulled into a bit of a braid at the back, wearing kind of darker kind of chain mail with a shield by his side at the minute, with a phoenix on it. And you can see a flail at his hip as well. Yeah.
Do you look human, other than the red skin?
Yeah, pretty much human-esque. Yeah, no real difference.
Okay.
And sat on a stool next to them is Fail.
Yep, you see a 3'2" gnome, male, grey hair, green eyes, and Pastine was thinking himself really funny, and in the skin box put yes.
So you've got skin.
I have skin.
Of a multitude.
I'm glad. Can I make a nature check to see if I can tell what Dragoth is?
You can give me a religion check.
A religion check. Ooh. 17.
17. You work out from his symbology, and it's not new to you from where you come from and such, to have people be proud of who they represent or what they represent.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing this very large human-looking chap, can easily work out that it is a person of faith, and with his attire, probably defends that faith quite well. Mm-hmm. As for his race, there is something ever so slightly off human, but other than that, you can't really focus onto what.
So he's not Fae?
No, definitely not.
Okay, well, the rest is humans all look alike to me.
Wow. And we're off.
So, I guess we should go and see this alchemist and see if they managed to analyse our potion and see whether it is what we thought it was. And hopefully we grab the right thing.
You can hear this, Iara. Their conversation you can hear.
I am listening with interest, and I'm not trying to be stealthy about it either.
So,
Hand over ear.
yeah.
Oh?
Yeah.
Just peeking over a newspaper.
Yeah.
So, the plan for today is
Yeah, pick up potion.
pick up potion and then head
Depends
back.
what the potion is, doesn't it? If it is that cure that she wanted, or if it is, like they said, an undead thing. That was what they said, an undead feeling. So I feel like we should, base our decision on that.
Yeah.
Sounds smart.
I'm pretty sure you discovered last session that it wasn't a healing potion, but you couldn't work out what it was with its liquid yellow colour.
I will approach. Is it Fail?
Yeah.
And I will say, excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear. You are going to an alchemist's.
That's correct. Yes.
Do you mind if I tag along? I am kind of looking for an alchemist.
Sure. It's fine.
Thank you.
Unless any of you object.
No,
More
but
merry.
what is your name?
Iara.
Yara, I'm Alice.
Pleasure to meet you, Alice.
Quill.
Quill.
Dragor.
Pleasure to meet you all.
Pleasure to meet you too.
I'm going to turn to the barkeep or maid and say, any interesting news this morning that you've heard of?
There's a young un there. She's kind of red-cheeked, well wrapped up, like she's just been outside for a while and then come on in, and not quite taken her furs and hide clothing off yet. And she's sort of just stacking a load of logs near the big hearth over to the side. She obviously hears you hollering and comes over. She's like, I won't say news. There were lots of people in last night bragging about going north and dealing with some marauding orcs, but we hear that all the time. There's not a lot of orcs over here. They stick to survive. And if there was orcs in here, not a lot of Iconians would stand to let them live. But most of that, people just bragging. I know Sabella's going on a bit of a tour. She wants to try and get her notoriety spread across Viconia. She'll be heading north soon, a few days. If you're interested in arm wrestling.
I wonder if she'll pass on my name too.
What is your name?
Dragor, of course.
Of course. Pleased to meet you, Drago. She just carries on stacking the logs.
Okay, Brill. Shall we move on? Shall we go to this alchemist and see what this potion is?
Yes.
Grab our
So, yeah.
stuff and head to the door.
You head out, I'm assuming you all head out, into the lovely, fresh, breezy air of the town of Axe. It is ice cold upon your face. It's fresh. It is very, very... it's just cold. It's really cold. Right? That's my immense description there. It's incredibly cold.
Iara pulls her fur cloak around her a little bit tighter.
Cool. You pass all... Go on.
I'll turn to the other two and I'll say, looks like the news of the fire hasn't spread, which is good for us.
I was thinking that. But I can't say I wouldn't have told him that it wasn't.
And then back to you.
Iara is looking like she's very definitely not listening right now.
Oh, look, a snowflake. So you pop through the streets, you go past the buildings you saw yesterday. They're still log. Nothing's changed overnight, so shockingly. With their like mossy green roofs that have been thatched really well. And you get to the Ruby Flask, I believe it was. It was indeed. You get to the Ruby Flask. There is a sign upon it that says closed. Give me, whoever's leading the party, or in front of the walk or whatever, give me a perception check.
I mean, I doubt it would be me because I can't move as fast.
And it certainly won't be me because I don't know where I'm going, so I'll be with Quill.
Drago, Ellis?
I can lead. Sure.
There you go. So give me a perception check.
Okay, so,
The decision's already at level 1.
Hang on.
13 plus any perception. 15.
Cool. We shall pause for Jen, because I can cut this out with modern technology. And she's back. So, with your perception check, Ellis, you can see, despite the sign on the door saying closed, you can see just beyond the frosted glass, people moving around.
But it says it's closed, but they're definitely in there. I don't understand why they've got that sign up. I mean,
That's
it's normal
not.
shophouse.
What time in the morning is it? Maybe they just haven't opened for the day.
It's about between 8 and 10. It's up to yourselves how late you slept in.
Some people aren't morning people.
Well,
Let's just check the door.
Yeah.
you bang on the door. You can now that you're up to the door, you can see the couple of humanoid shapes yourself. They come. One of them comes towards the door, opens it up, and it's the lass that you dealt with last time, the wife, and the husband is looking quite smiley at the back desk. And as soon as she sees you, she says, "Ah, welcome, welcome, come in, quickly." And she ushers you all in. She gives a nod to you three, pauses, gives a nod to Iara, and then looks at you as she's nodding to Iara.
Yep.
None of you stop her. You're in. She has a look. She has a look outside, like left and right, and then closes the door, keeps the sign unclosed. She's like, "Quick, over here, over here." She doesn't seem to be scared or anything. She's just quite energetic for this time of morning. And she brings you over to the desk where you were before. And her husband has got a couple of apparatus up on the desk, a little rack with, like a spice rack with test tubes in it, a couple of alchemical potions, and I always forget it. The thing you mash.
Pestle and mortar.
Pestle and mortar. I'm going to get a post sticker on my laptop. We've got pestle and mortar. There's two of them out there, and there's some herbs ground up, and there's herbs that seem to have been cut up and mixed, and there's fine powders of like red, blues, and yellows. They seem to have just put all their alchemical tools on their customer service desk, and they're just playing around. And you see the potion bottle that you gave them yesterday. The black inky veins that were running through the yellow liquid are more present in the bottle this morning. She's like, "Well, how are we all?"
Good. How did the analysis go?
Well, this, I can tell you, is a potion of haste, which if you were to drink it, you would go really fast, which is amazing and really expensive. We've never seen anything like this. We don't sell it in the town of Axe. It's several, it's a lot of gold. But as I said before about that strange element within it, you see the black, and she holds up the bottle, and you can see, and she just gets a candle that's a couple of candles lit, like real short, like they've been on all night. And by on I mean lit. Okay. And she puts a candle behind the bottle, and you can see now that it just catches some of the yellow liquid, but the blackness is blocking out the light, and you can see there's probably a 70-30 ratio of black to yellow. And she's like, "This, if you were to drink this, you will take the effects of the haste, but this particular black liquid, my husband has managed to work out that it is like a signature of the crafter. You would be more, how do I put it in layman's terms? You'd be more susceptible to their arcane abilities, like you'd be linked to them, but in a negative way. Like they would know. It would weaken your mind, your body, anything they were to do towards you. It is a incredible masterpiece of alchemy. I'm surprised it was just in the town of Axe."
Certainly not the thing to be given to children.
No, definitely not given to children. Unless you want
Also,
them faster than they already are. My apologies. She nods at Iara.
it sounds like someone then is tainting the potions that they're selling. So I suggest you be careful of to which potions you drink from now on.
Are you saying this to these three or to her?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
We haven't drank it.
It's wise advice. You three should definitely not be drinking potions from around here, except ours, obviously.
Well, we were picking this up for a job, to be honest, but we'll keep it in mind.
For a job? What was the job?
Pick up the potion.
That was an easy job. Why did you bring it here first?
Because it looked weird.
And we weren't sure whether it was the right potion.
The potion's meant to be for children.
This is probably not the right potion, although I don't know what she's planning on doing with children in a potion of haste. She might, he or she might be. Was it a she? I just guessed that.
Fine guess.
Really insightful.
It was. You are insightful. It was a woman. She talked of how the potion could be used to cure some sickness that some orphans had or children had. But this sounds like very much not the right potion.
This won't cure sickness.
Unless they're really slow, and that's the sickness.
You should probably go back then and get the right potion.
The gentleman who we got the potion from is no longer with us.
The husband and wife kind of stepped back a little bit.
It wasn't our fault. He set himself on fire.
They stepped further back
Yeah.
on the reaction of Yara.
Yara kind of looks at these two alchemists and looks at the others.
Yes, what lovely weather we're having here.
Alice also takes a step back from Draco, not wanting to be associated with this current conversation.
Everyone steps away from the
Covered.
cleric.
Covered in fire symbols. I set himself on fire, honest God. When you say set himself on fire, was like, is he alive?
Well, no, we kind of doused his room in fuel and then threw a match at it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
The husband reaches for a double barrel shotgun from under the.
I will take several very clear steps away from this group of strangers that I have just met, who set the last alchemist on fire. I will kind of almost turn my body a little bit between them and the two alchemists that are here.
The two alchemists that are here are in no rolls needed, people. Very scared.
You all seem to be quite jittery. I don't understand.
Jesus. It's just not every day we hear that, group of
You
people.
set a man on fire.
Yeah, yes.
Set him on fire. He set himself.
He set himself on fire, as my good friend said.
Well, you said you threw fuel in there and lit him
You
up.
just
He fueled.
doused him and his things with fuel.
He doused himself in the fuel. And
That's
his
not
cup-
what you just said.
That is what I said.
Well, we heard. Give me a insight check.
Yeah. 16.
Cool. Mr. Quill,
Mhm.
give me a persuasion check. Normally, I don't have players roll off against each other. What did you get?
17.
Nice.
Both got 17. Cool. So, yes, Yara, when Quill corrects himself, it sounds legit. I mean, you've got the whole, I've just met you, you're now changing your story. You're pretty convincing. Well, but Quill definitely believes his second story.
Very well.
The other two, not so much. As in the alchemists, not you two. They're still back against the wall, slowly edging towards the curtain that leads them to the back of their building.
Right, can I explain this? Because I think we failed to do so far. We went to the Green Flask yesterday to pick up this potion for this woman that she said would have healing properties. When we arrived, they were uneasy about letting us in, but eventually did, and the guards seemed shocked that we were allowed in. We went in, and as we found the alchemist, who I assume is the alchemist, he was in a room full of potion bottles and potion-making equipment, said something about how we weren't going to be leaving, and then dropped this flask, which set the entire room on fire, completely incinerating himself. Myself and Fail, or Quill, were hit, and it was horrible, and we were on fire shortly. Then the only thing we could find in the room was that one potion. Now, we picked it up. It was wrapped with a bow and a box. We picked it up because we wanted to help the children. We wanted to still do the thing that we had gone there to do. Also, I will add, there was a money incentive, but I'll also say that I wasn't taking any of the money. Just wanted to do the right thing. Anyway, it's very difficult to get people to believe you that a man set himself on fire, but we didn't trust the potion of the man who set himself on fire, rightly so. And so now we're here trying to get the potion sorted, and it turns out it doesn't help the children, and we've been involved in an incident. So yes, that's everyone up to date now.
And brave.
All of this was yesterday.
I did boot
So
a door
yesterday
off.
afternoon.
You people are busy.
The two alchemists react ever so slightly. They don't keep edging towards the curtain at the mention of the green flask alchemist. The husband does whisper something to his fair wife, and she sort of nods to him and just steps back up to the thing. Was it Vernon at the?
Yes.
Yes. What did he look like? Oh yeah.
A man with burnt skin by the time we saw it.
Sort of black, crispy.
How about the people that saw
Smelt
him
like
before
bacon.
he dropped the alchemist fire?
Oh,
Get a good look at him.
Oh well. Probably sounds. Go on.
He looked
I
insane.
My notebook, but it just says Verno, alchemist.
Well, it sounds like Vernon.
Yeah, I've just written Verno, alchemist.
Glad I gave a description now. You know what I mean?
I remember the guards. I remember them.
my only note on it is Verno set himself on fire.
God.
And I don't have any notes.
Verno, alchemist, fire, alchemical.
I am working.
Damn, he crispy.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, at the time we were in a kind of a hurry to leave rather than take a detailed description.
I mean, it looks like we effectively got away with it, though. Even though we didn't do anything, but you know,
It's amazing.
Despite actually getting away with it, you see Trago seems to be intent on making sure we don't go away.
Sorry about that.
Telling people the
Alright,
truth.
sorry. So, the alchemist lady steps forward, and you're talking to her about Vernon, and she sort of smiles a little bit of a sad smile. Now she's kind of put two and two together that the only person she can think of that's probably up there doing such alchemical things is Vernon. She just kind of puts her hand on the desk, starts just moving some of the tools around. So, what would you like us to do with the potion?
we'll keep hold of it.
You keep hold of it.
You've got the sample, we've got the potion.
Yeah.
I can. Yes. I could possibly, maybe, or at least my husband thinks we could. We could trace the arcane creator for you, but we would need a little bit of help.
What kind of help?
We would need a root from the forest.
You could potentially pick that up.
It is called Everblue.
Do I know? Does that
Give
raise
me a nature.
Knowledge nature?
Yeah, give me a nature check.
No. that is not a plant from
20.
where I come from.
And what did you get, Alice?
20?
20.
With my +2, so it's
Oh,
a
right.
natural 18, but
An unholy 20, I understand. So yes, you've heard of Everblue. It is quite a potent root on its own. It's just a root. Some of the animals eat it. You've known people to just chew on it, and it's just a nice minty-esque flavour. You don't know of its alchemical properties, but you do know it is quite popular among folk that you've talked to, hung around with, learnt from, etc. in your past. That it is used in alchemical stuff. Some people use it in cooking. So it's obviously quite a popular root, if not spoken about much. It's kind of that secret ingredient that you only know exists if you know about the secret ingredient, but everyone seems to know about the secret ingredient. It's like brown sauce. Goes well in everything. But yeah, that's what you know about Everblue.
do you before we go and look for that, which Do you think that perhaps the effects of the potion that do you think Vernon may have drunk that and be suffering the ill effect? Because I can't see why, if he was the creator, why he would. I'm trying to understand if he had possibly drunk the haste and then the after effects of the control had caused him to do something to himself.
It's a
It's rather
fair,
insidious.
yeah, it's a fair guess. I can't imagine Vernon doing that. Like, we've known him. I wouldn't say we're close, but we've known him a few years. He's obviously a competitor, but dousing himself in flames is not. I mean, he's quite successful. He outsells most alchemists in the town. And he also doesn't have the magical capability that we're aware of to add to this potion. But I wouldn't say it's not the reason he do it. If someone does drink such a potion as this, and the person who created it cast magic at them, or of any arcane or divine source, if it altered or changed the mind, controlled your body, then they'd struggle to resist it. But
So setting himself on fire isn't something he'd do regularly then.
Only once.
It's only the once. Only the once. But yes, with the Everblue route, me and my husband between us could probably aid you in tracing the signature of the caster.
How much more potion would you need to do that? Would you need more, or are you okay with the sample you currently have?
If we had the route, we'd need the whole potion. It would consume the potion in the testing and making and separation of the signature element.
I don't think you should be giving that potion to children.
I'd have to agree with the.
Maybe
we certainly don't intend to.
Maybe we should be checking whether the person that tasked us with this is after this potion or a different one. See if their intentions are pure.
I'll look to the alchemist and say, can you make a fake?
A fake of
Because you don't
this
really
potion.
want to be taking the actual potion to someone who might give it to children.
Yeah.
I'll make a fake of this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just make it so fill it with something that's not poisonous. That will look very similar.
we could probably put some sugar and water together and, call it Polcal or something.
Sounds good.
Sewed.
I've got some. We can put some willow bark in it.
Yeah. Yes, I could definitely make a placebo potion, as long as the person that's obviously awaiting this potion is not skilled in the art of alchemy. They wouldn't know, other than it being sweet tasting. But if they're expecting it to heal the children, without knowing what is wrong with the children, I don't think I can make a working potion. It'd just be placebo.
No, that makes sense. If it turns out what they are doing and if they're pure and what they mean to do is good, then we can obviously recommend your services and return to you for a potion that would actually help the children.
We do our best.
So do you want to go and speak to that person then, and then following that maybe look into finding the route?
I think so.
Sounds like a plan.
So make the placebo, go speak to the person, and then...
Yeah.
The placebo will take me about an hour. You can sit and wait if you so wish.
Might as well.
I have an errand to run, if you do not mind.
Does he? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you have an hour.
The rest of
Drago's going to run an errand. What are you three doing? Joining him, staying here, etc.?
I'm staying.
Less fire.
Stay unless you want some assistance.
Well, I came here to buy a particular dried powder, so I'll see if they've got it.
You're welcome to come with me. I'm just going to go speak to somebody that I know, but yeah.
We'll deal with Iara first, as you are in the shop. What dry powder are you after?
Just some alchemical formula for a tincture that I know how to make, which will help protect against the cold.
Cool. Give me a persuasion check.
18.
As you're chimwagging away, and you just ask for exactly that, the husband goes back. He's really quiet. You hardly ever hear him speak. He goes back behind the curtain, and he comes back, and he's got like a little wooden screw top, about this big, and he just passes it over to you. Nods, and the wife, she goes, "Oh, there you go. That's what you're looking for."
Perfect. How much do I owe you?
Don't worry about the charge. If you're helping this lot out and they're helping the village children, then that's fine for now.
That's incredibly kind of you.
Probably why we're skint. Well, yeah, so you have your little
Excellent.
hot chocolate alchemy. Mr. Drago.
Alchemical hot chocolate.
Alchemical hot chocolate. What side quest have you forced upon me?
I'll be heading out into Axe to find the ash merchant.
You see an ancient white dragon.
You're
Are you looking for an ash merchant? Give me a investigation check. Are you asking people or are you just looking yourself?
The ash merchant, if you know what I mean.
Are you asking people or are you looking for it yourself?
I'm going to ask people.
Cool, so give me a persuasion check. Let me...
19.
Speaking to people, you get a few of the lumberjacks coming in and out. There's a few more, your bakers and the merchants are getting up and opening stores by the time you finish in the alchemy shop and start walking around everywhere. You ask people of an ash merchant, and it seems that they're sort of looking at you like, oh, no, we don't sell ash. Like, there's no reason for it and stuff like this. And you spend about, I reckon, half an hour, 40 minutes just hitting a wall. Like, no one seems to have heard anything about this ash merchant. It's not something that gets sold, or there's not something where there's a store. A few of them suggest speaking to a few of the taverns to see if you can purchase ash from them regarding their massive hearths. Some people recommend the blacksmiths. There's only 2 of them in town. Again, they'll have a form of ash. People are kind of helpful. You approach them, despite they're used to like foreigners or folk not native of Viconia because of where Axe stands, like going into the rest of the country. So you get a lot of travelling merchants from all over the world. And yeah, they're generally nice, and you find out. And then at about the 45-minute mark, you see appears to be blind, not beggar, but someone who doesn't really look like they have an abode. They could be homeless, could not be. Kind of middle-aged. They've got like a hood coming over, and you can see the beard coming out the bottom. The bottom's like salt and pepper, black and grey. The hood is heavy, like heavy over the brow, almost to the eyes, so you can't see a lot of the face where the beard comes up. And when you do notice, when they turn their eyes, they're milky white, and they've got a wooden stick, and they're putting it out in front of them to, well, they're finding their way as a blind person would. The rest of their attire, again, very much this person lives outside, and so whilst finding his way with his cane staff, he's sprinkling ash as he walks.
You there?
Jesus.
Might you be of the Order of Fire and Ash?
Just keeps walking, sprinkling. Child of fire, follow me. Talk. Wander a while. Doesn't turn to face, he just keeps walking, sprinkling this ash.
Tell me, what is the state of the world? Does it sway with light or dark?
My eyes do not see as well as they used to, child of fire. I cannot tell you light or dark, but there is a greyness that falls upon us at this moment as we walk. And wherever you're walking next to him, he throws ash in front of himself and then ash in front of you, as though paving a path for you both. Yep. This little pouch next to him, it's only a very small pouch, seems to have a metric ton of ash in this small pouch. He stops and he just looks to his left, and on one of the wooden beams next to this blacksmith shop that's just up ahead of you, so the wooden beam is like almost isolated, so you've got where the canvas and the bit of the forge is built, it comes out, so you've got a roofed porch, and then there's just an extra bit where there's a little bit of wood and this wooden beam, and like crudely drawn onto it, as though a child has done it, or a blind man, there is a image similar to the one on your shield. When you look at it, you see these words, like as though they register across your eyes. Like they're not there, they just appear. I stand as being of fire and ash. I am the keeper of the cycle, and bring about its reclamation should it falter. I am the hand that nurtures that which should rise, brings ruin to that which should fall, gives life to that which should have it, and brings death to that which should not. I am the keeper of the cycle, and the end of that which would break it. In the fire all live, in the ash all fall, as is the order, as is the way, as is the cycle. When those words disappear, there is no sign of the blind old man, but you are outside a blacksmith.
In fire all live, and the ash all fall. I'll touch the symbol and make my way back to the alchemist.
You touch the phoenix symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. As you put your hand on the phoenix symbol, you hear a, "Hello there, what is your business?" And you turn, and the blacksmith, she's a wired, muscly, strong elf with thick black hair that is tied as best it can, bunched around the back of her head. She's got the apron on, the blacksmith apron. Her forearms are like sinewy, and you can see that clearly this elf spends a lot of... I mean, she's not as big as the dwarven or, the stereotypical bearded Viconian, but she is ripped, mate. She spends a lot of time working iron and doesn't put any weight on. Bloody elves, man. Bane of my life. She's clearly there. She's got the soot marks all over her. She's mucky. She's just sort of staring at you. She's got this small blacksmithing hammer in her hand, and she's just wiping like soot and grit and stuff off her hand on her apron. She's not long open. She shouts across to you.
The Shore Forge, a fine place. I'm just passing through.
You're damn right. It's a fine place. What are you touching? What's that? Did you draw that?
No, just noticed it on the wall or on the pole.
Where's your shield?
On my back.
Cool. Do you have any iconography anywhere else?
Other than the shield, and then I've got a phoenix around my neck as well, like a little. But it's underneath the chain. I don't know if you mean.
Is it
visible? No.
You chuffing description.
I didn't know if you meant like.
No. Can the NPC see any icon?
The shield.
Cool. You after armor?
Not currently, but maybe in the future.
All right. Well, big on with you.
Pleasure. And I walk off.
Cool. You go back to the alchemist shop?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Back in the alchemist shop. Drago's been gone about an hour now. The alchemists, they've done their... You watch them, and it's quite a simple task. You see her grinding up certain... which between Ellis and Iara, you can see that she's using like a sugarcane plant, which does not grow around here. And she mixes it in, and her husband's bringing water out from the back, and it doesn't take them too long. And they make together this little potion that's got a very... You watch her put together the placebo potion of sugar and water and a few extra elements she puts in there. Some sort of crushed red leaf she crushes into a real fine powder, puts it all together, gives it a shake, and you have a very, very pale, almost pink red potion bottle. You now have your placebo healing potion.
So it...
Pink doesn't look like yellow, black veins going through it.
But you were after a healing potion, yes?
We were after a placebo for the potion we had, so we could check if that person would think it was the right... If they snatched it and were like, oh yes, that's perfect, that looks like a healing potion, then we'd know.
I thought, oh, my mistake. She grabs a yellow leaf, crushes it into a fine powder, throws the Iara out the shop, and and it is now a weird orangey... closer to yellow than red. And then she just puts some black ink in there.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get away with it if the person doesn't know.
Give me a perception check.
Okay. 16.
20.
Cool. You both reckon it'll pass?
Cool. Thank you for putting that together for so quick. we should probably go now then to that first tavern where we all met and try
Door
and...
opens, Drago walks in.
Draco, we have a suitable replacement, a placebo.
Perfect.
I suppose we should all probably go to that tavern now and
Make
find
sure-
out if she's still there.
Make sure you put them in separate bags.
Okay. Dale, you keep hold of the real potion.
Okay.
That sounds smart.
I shall hold the fake potion.
I'll
We
put
got
the
it,
real
Jenny.
one in my bag.
Right, I'm back.
Yay! So essentially, you now have a placebo potion of the one you already have, so the yellow one, not
Excellent.
a red healing one. She may have made 2 minutes ago. And Drago's just walked back in.
Right.
Cool. Do we
So
remember
I've-
where she said to meet her?
Ayara, would you like to come with us?
Yes, actually, I think I do. Curious to see how this plays out.
Oh,
Besides,
yeah.
I'm
Nobody
very
else
curious
set
about what
themselves
this
on
route
fire.
looks like.
I
Does anyone
can't remember the
every-
name of the tavern we met at. Can
Whoop.
anyone else?
The
Oh.
Mighty Oak.
No, there was another one before that. The original one where the woman commissioned us.
Ah.
Did she not say we have to meet her in the Cotton Bowl? But
She
she was
did.
in the Ice Fox Tavern.
Brilliant.
Yes, cotton ball. That's it.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank heavens you remembered.
6'5", memory
It's
bank.
as if it was 2 weeks ago, but only happened last night.
So, are you heading to the Cotton Ball or to the Ice Fox Tavern?
Cotton ball, I guess.
I think the Cotton Bowl.
I didn't remember, so I'll go wherever you say is where we should go.
So you're off to the Cotton Ball, yep. You head out into the town of Axe yet again. Ask around, and you are pointed towards where there is a collection of merchants that specialise in tailoring and such things. You see the Cotton Ball. It's very obvious. It's the one with the sign that says Cotton Ball, and you go towards it. It's open. There is no closed sign. On the outside, you can see two. They look really young and cherub-like faces, but again, they have an element of. They don't look child young. They just look like young adult. You know, Quill. There are halflings. There are two halflings.
Okay.
They're very well disguised. They're not deliberately disguised. They just blend in quite well as young Viconians. But being a gnome, no role, you can clearly see two halfling folk. They're working outside and they're kind of putting up little handmade painted banners, something to do with a festival that's happening in Axe a month from now. And they're just inviting people to come to this White Bear festival.
Okay.
And obviously, well, I say obviously, you can assume that they're putting it up there because the next banner speaks of items that will cost less during this build-up. So there's a bit of a discount sale going on for the festival. The doorway's open and you can see straight in, and there is Zarizi, the seamstress you spoke to in the Ice Fox Tavern. And she's just moving stuff about inside the building.
Hi, Zarizi.
You just walk in.
Yeah.
Cool. The two halflings, they sort of acknowledge you. They're quite smiley. They sort of double take to Quill. They don't see many gnomes around here, especially with the ward on the old face. And they just carry on sticking these two banners up outside the shop. You walk in Zarizi straight away. She's like, welcome back. Oh, well, not welcome back. I saw you in the tavern, but welcome to my shop. This is the Cotton Ball, and you can see clearly this is somewhere where a seamstress, etc., person good at sewing stuff would work. I'm going to use Google on my thesaurus. But yeah, so you can see there are tables full of bolts of cloth. There are large needles, smaller needles. There's a loom. There's a spinning wheel just scattered about. It's a very, not dirty, but messy shop.
Okay.
And Cerise's just stood there and is everyone okay? How did it go? Did you get the potion?
Yeah. Well, we think we did.
What colour was the potion you were expecting?
I don't know. I've never bought potions before. I'm not an alchemist. I just commissioned Vernon to make one. What colour did they? I didn't know potions had colours.
Or just so we know we got the right one. And weren't.
Yeah, there was
Yes.
it was a mishap. It was the only one left. Well, the only one that we could find at the time.
Is it mine? Is it the one I commissioned?
So we don't know that.
Well,
We
it
were
was in a-
wondering, have you given the children this medicine before?
No, this was another attempt at like helping them, some of the sicker ones.
Something else to ask. You offered 50 gold for collecting the potion. Was there no one that would do it for a lower price? I remember in the pub there was some sort of commotion around it, and it seemed weird that no one took the offer.
There's a bit of a I don't think insecurity is the word, like a suspicion around the orphanage and the children getting sick. Some of the folk around here are not keen on being anywhere near it, and they think that if they're all to do with anything, they'll be cursed or their crops won't grow. Not that there's any farmers around here, and she's sort of getting a little bit agitated. Just some people just don't have kind hearts, and I can't.
You haven't
sorry.
commissioned any medicine, but has anybody else from the orphanage commissioned medicine before?
Only smaller medicinal things like direct herbs, rather than putting them in a potion. The usual medicine checks. We've had some of the hunters and the trappers and that, they've come in and kind of showed us what they do for certain wounds out on the road and stuff. And some of the merchants that have come through, some of them have aides with them that are skilled in medicine, and they've used oils and incenses. But this is the first time I've resorted to a magical potion.
Why the green flask? Why did you choose to deal with them?
They're just the if you ask around, they're the ones that make the most. They seem to be wealthier than the other alchemy shops, and it just made sense to go and speak to the ones that made the most gold. So could I have the potion?
What was you expecting this potion to do?
Remove the illness from the children.
What's the illness?
We don't know. That's why we've struggled to remove it.
You've commissioned an alchemical tincture to cure something that you don't know what it is.
Well, if they knew what it was, then they'd probably be able to cure it easier.
Yes.
Do you think we could take a look at one of the children? I have a little background in medicine.
I suspect the potion you managed to retrieve is not the correct potion.
Oh dear.
I
So
don't
you didn't get the healing potion.
No.
You got a potion, and it was in a box wrapped up as a gift.
I never requested such a thing. I don't know if that's Vernon's normal way of wrapping sold items.
I don't think it was meant for I don't think it was meant for this. I don't think the potion does healing in any way.
Okay, so what do I give the children?
Well, I would suggest
if you can, on your offer of having a look, if you're any knowledge in medicine or
Well,
related.
certainly. And if I can't do anything, we have found the keepers of the red flask.
Yes, she nods.
We found them to be incredibly helpful, and we explained our situation. They had a very strong vested interest in making sure that the children were well, so I don't think they treat you with the same suspicion or fear. But yes, certainly, I'll look at the children. If anyone else has any sort of background in that, then
yes, the orphanage is only a few hundred meters from my store. And she sort of signals to the back of the store, but obviously meaning outside. And about 400 meters down the path, the orphanage is there. I can take you there now, and if you give me a moment to just let the hired help.
Does anyone else come?
Well, I'm
Might as
assuming
well all go.
this illness isn't contagious since you're going to take us in.
We don't know. It hasn't affected any of the carers, but the children. It's not just the same children. Like it seems to be going around the children. So it's almost as if they're passing it to each other, but not to anyone elder, or so far anyway.
Do we all want to go and take a look?
Yeah, why not?
As you so you go out and she leads you down the side, pass through the other tailoring shops. You go, like she says, about 400 meters, and there is a very large. It's quite a nice like L-shaped building. It's been put together well. The same log walls that the other buildings have. It's not like a little shanty building or anything. It does look quite nice on the outside. As you get closer, there is a guard, helmet, everything like covered up, bit of chain, bit of leather, and they're stood at like a gate, and then there's about, I don't know, 20 feet of a path that walks to the orphanage door. And this guard is, and there's a palisade fence that's been put around the orphanage that is newer than the than the building, which is a bit more rough and ready and put together quickly. And it's cut, and they've put a little gate gap in it. There's no actual gate; it's a gap, but it would be where the gateway is. And there's just I say guard. They look like they're on guard. They've got a wooden spear, they've got a hand axe at the side. They look a definite native of Iconia. You can see the hair hanging out. You can't see gender, just completely covered, head to toe, like they're trying to be very protective of themselves. Cerisi follows you down. The guard sort of steps in front of her, looks at you a lot, and then steps aside. No words passed, and Cerisi takes you to the orphanage door. As you get to the orphanage door and you open the door, who's opening the door?
I can open the door. Went well
Cool.
last time.
As you open the door, fireball goes off.
Yeah.
As you open the door, you have a very familiar smell hit you. One not so long ago, that was very much of death and decay. And despite looking out across, now the inside of this place is completely opposite to the outside. It is horrible. Like the sheets are stained with blood and mess and just grubby. The bunks that the kids are in are just put together with whatever wood they can find. Even the wooden floors, there's some wooden floors near the bunks, and then the rest of it's just a hard packed ground that you've been walking on outside. There is windows, but on the outside they're obviously nice and thingy. On the inside, some of them are just, they're like fake windows where there's wood that goes over them, as to not let light into the place. The bunks in here, there's about 12 bunks in this immediate room that you walk into, and these bunks, it doesn't look like a bunk room. It looks like they've extended into this room. And then at the far back, when you saw where the L shape was, you can see a few curtains. So there's a bit of a wall, but then curtains instead of doors that just leads into the back. All the bunks are full. Like these weird, like grubby, I say weird, these grubby little blankets are pulled up over small humanoid shapes underneath. Good guess, they're children. And then you can see there's a couple more halflings, very similar to the folk that were helping Cerisi at the cotton ball. There's a very large gentleman at the back, like a couple of inches taller than Dragor, with same ashen grey skin, but not as, it's paler rather than the deeper colours of ash. It's paler, and you can see a few black tattooed markings across shoulders and stuff. It's a very large, heavy set bloke, bald head, just got a apron on and a mouth, the mouthpiece. Excuse me. Seems to be tending some of the children and moving them with ease from a couple of bunks to here and there. You see on the top, so as you look down, the 12 bunks, the top two on the left, so like number 5 and 6 as it were, again they've got bulges where the people are under, one small is under the blankets, and there's flies flying around them 2 bunks. And you see again, so there's like 2 halflings in front of you, and they seem to be tending the 12, and then you see the large grey-skinned chap at the back. The stench in there, it's putrid and horrible and sickly. It gives you a familiar feeling of before, just enhanced. Like you haven't smelled it this potent before, but it does remind you of where you lived maybe once or twice. It's quite horrible to be in there. And you step over the threshold and you're in the orphanage. Who follows in next?
Yeah.
Mr. Quill. You step in, again you get the same overwhelming smell. There is give me a Arcana check. 21. Holy shit. You deflect the fireball. There is On the floor near the doorway, you can see silver thread that's been used constantly and a bit grubby and old. Arcane spellcasters use that silver thread to set up an alarm. So if anyone is to come within a certain area, it would alert the caster that someone is in that area. And it seems to be around the doorway, and obviously it's disturbed when Ellis walked in.
Okay.
But it wasn't in place, it wasn't set. It's just that you can see that probably multiple times the alarm spell gets set here. Who follows in after Quill?
I'll come in last, so it'll be.
Cool. So Drago.
Do I see the two in front of me, like, kind of hesitating with the smell and stuff like that?
Are you hesitating with the smell?
Or
Not
not reacting
hesitating.
at all?
Obviously, like disgusted, but
yeah.
not hesitating.
I mean, it's you and Yara can smell it. It's just obviously that's slightly more potent for them too because they're in the building. And you're 6'5", mate. You can see over Ellis and
Yeah,
Quill.
yeah. I meant more like their start, so it looks like it. Yeah, I can kind of
They've
see.
probably slowed as they walked, but obviously still went.
I'd like to get to the doorway and kind of hold for a second and just start breathing in a little bit more and focusing. And I'd like to cast Divine Sense.
Ooh, Mother Kipper. Divine Sense. What does it do, Mr. Paladin?
60 foot of celestial fiend and unliving. Like I can know their location.
Okay. So of the 12 beds, yep. The 6 on the left. So imagine bed 1 is next to you, and then number 6 is at the far end. You see that you focus, and you get that surrounding warmth, and everything goes quiet, and you can feel ash falling from the sky like snow, just settling on your skin. You breathe out, and your eyes open, and immediately your sense kicks in. 5 and 6 are dead, not undead.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, and 3, you get fiend. Yep. And unliving from 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
That's on the left. On the right, 1 to 6, they all get fiend. Nothing on the halflings, nothing on the big one at the back.
Cool.
Or anywhere else. That 60 foot goes beyond the curtains.
Yeah.
It's just the immediate ones in front of you.
And so was it 1, 2, and 3 on the left? Sorry, that was the unliving and fiend.
Yep.
Can I rush to the kid closest to me that is alive and try and work out if I've seen what's making them ill before?
You can. So
I'll turn to Zanzarina and also say, I have a sneaky suspicion of why I think this illness is spreading so quickly between your children.
So you walk.
I'll wander over as well.
So the closest ones to you, you've got number 1 on the left and number 1 on the right, which they're equally as close.
1 on the left.
I'll go to
Cool.
the right.
If I see them start going left, I'll be like, stop.
They both like fork.
I'll say to the one who's going left, I'll be like, wait.
Why?
I sense there is something darker in the air with some of the children.
Yara's trying to look around.
And, I'll step forward and stuff. I'll step into the room. Yeah.
Do you follow in, Yara?
I do.
As you follow in,
Mhm.
you get the same very, very, very brief feeling of how your situation occurred. So that moment you crossed, you get it like it is almost periphery. He's like to look not strong, definitely not a crossover, but a resemblance of.
Her nose wrinkles in disgust, and she says, and turns to
Zarizi?
Ellis.
Oh no.
And says, "This is how you keep your children? Is this how humans keep their children? This is disgusting."
These aren't our children.
In confusion.
You are
you're
human,
human
yes?
looking.
Yes.
Yes. This is this
Yeah.
normal?
This is not normal as
Becca,
far as I have seen.
Becca,
Yes.
give me a roll.
uh,
Yara, give me an insight check.
Okie
I'm
dokie.
assuming you know what to roll, Becca.
um,
It's in alphabetical order. Get to D.
oh, 18.
And what did you get, Jen?
Hang on. 23.
Cool. Are you human? Yes. There's a hidden truth there. Or a hidden lie. Up to you.
I just ignore what everyone is saying now because I don't like it. And we'll go straight across to that child ignoring what Dragor said.
The three that you're about to, well, one we're about to walk over to, there's a sense of unliving about him.
Okay.
They all have a sense of fiendishness. Those three there, and I point to the ones on the left, there's a sense of being unliving. Those two beyond them are dead.
So just so you're aware, Eddie, the three on the left are fiendish and unliving, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
cool.
all, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Just to
I
make
will
sure.
carry on anyway.
I'm going to keep an eye on the big ashen bloke at the other end of the room.
Obviously, this is all happening simultaneously. Zarizi walks in as you guys are walking in. She's brought a cloth out and she's put it to her mouth. You can see that it's not a bright, clean white cloth. She's probably used it a fair few times for this sort of scenario. She sort of says, excuse me, and she walks towards the big bloke at the end, just walks straight up the path to the end and gives the halflings a pat as you are talking and doing this. And Alice, you give me a medicine check.
Can I inspect the ones?
You
I
can.
want as well.
22.
Jesus Christ. Are you guys level 1? Yeah.
I'm really
Legendary.
good at medicine. That's my thing.
So medicine check.
10.
Cool. Right, cool. So we'll do Quill first because it's easier.
Someone
Quill,
turn up to the level 1 party.
Yeah. You go up to the first kid on the right. The halflings look at you. You can see their scruffy hair. They're again they sort of like got these robes on and these little face masks. You see on both of them that they're just wearing a sash of tartan just off their belts, and the tartan is black and grey. So it's quite difficult to tell if it ain't just one block colour, but you can see the black and grey pattern of tartan sashes on these two, on the two halflings. Yes. They sort of look at you. Zarizi, as she was passing them and pats them, has obviously said something to them, and they sort of let you check, and you just pull back, like the blanket, this dirty, grubby blanket, just to see the kid, and you can see that their arm, you can't tell age, and they've got these horrible black veins and like leprosy type tumours on their face and their neck and shoulder, just where you've pulled the blanket back. You can guess it's probably elsewhere on their bodies. Their hair is sweated to their, like matted to their heads from just sweating so much. This kid's in a shit state. You have no idea what could possibly cause such a thing other than really bad plaguey type diseases. Nothing springing to mind, nothing magical, nothing medicinal.
Nothing magical. Okay.
No. Yeah, but you obviously see that the child is clearly ill. And off your 10, it does look contagious, but obviously off the word of Zarizi when she said only the kids are passing it, not the adults, you can see that that's the thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna remove my hands.
Alice, the surgeon. So, on your 38 or whatever you rolled, again, similar sort of pullback. There's a young girl there. Her eyes, she's sort of opening her eyes. She's in and out of some sort of fever and delirium. There is not as much as the tumours that what I described for Quill. They seem to be. There are bumps and growths on like her arms and shoulders, but there isn't the obvious putrid like tumours. There's the black veins everywhere, and they're kind of thick, and it's almost like it's seeping oil, like just through the skin, like where she's sweating and she's obviously drip wet through. Where it is on the black veins, it looks like real thinned oils coming through her pores. You notice that her hands are like the knuckles on her hands are white, like she's been gripping something so much that like all blood's gone. She can't like let go. Whatever's causing this is causing her to be in an almost static state. She's not rolling around or anything. It's just her eyes sort of keep open. There's a couple of small moans. With your medicine check, 23 was it?
22, I think.
22. You notice there is like bumps around her forehead that are hard to touch, almost like something's under the skin, but it's like bone hard, like when you touch it. And she's got 3 of them, like one in the middle of her forehead and 2 either side. And they're real sore, like around them, like when baby's teeth come through type thing. They've got, not that you've seen many babies' teeth, but I don't know what you do on a Wednesday. But they're just really red around the bumps.
The black veins, does it remind me at all of the black liquid in the potion? At all?
No.
Okay.
Medicine-wise, you notice that it is definitely contagious. How the adults haven't got it yet, you are quite impressed. Whatever they're putting in place to not get it, it's obviously worked very well. But you would, if you saw this, you would definitely be like, burn them all, it's contagious. Or other words may be used. As far as you're concerned, it's definitely contagious. You don't know what it is, but it's definitely potent. You could probably do with curing pretty fast. Magical means will be needed, as far as you are aware. There is no herb that you know of or small town alchemical potion that will just remove this. You do believe completely that arcane means or divine are needed to remove this diseased thing from these children.
Okay, so I stand up after studying it and turn around and look to everyone, just like, this can't be cured with normal medicine. There's a reason they started trying to get magical potions. It's going to need something, not just herbal or a tincture or something. It will need something more magical to fix, but I haven't seen this specific illness before.
Yeah, I've not seen it before. It's certainly contagious, though.
Yeah, it's odd that it's not affecting the adults. I don't understand that at all.
Take a little step back towards the door.
And draw my arrows of death. Yara, you notice when you step back, you hear a and you look behind you, and the guard has lifted their helmet, and now the doors are open and the smell's going out into the street. This guard is just throwing up at the side of the palisade.
I'd be surprised if we aren't all have not all contracted this bloody thing. Hopefully, it's only contagious. Not bad.
The guy at the end of the room, did I get celestial off him at all?
No, man, nothing.
Cool.
And his skin's not as dark as. Yeah.
What was it, Dragor, that you said they were?
The ones on the right, I'm getting a kind of fiendish sense from them. The ones on the left, those 3, I'm getting the sense of fiendishness, but with unliving.
When you say fiend?
Demon, something of a demonic nature.
So something is turning these children into undead demons.
I can't say that for sure. I can just sense.
But it seems to just be killing them.
Those 2 are dead, but those ones, and I point back to the 3, they're the ones that are fiendish and unliving.
I wonder whether the magical potion of haste would speed up said transformation.
Do you think we should give it to them?
No.
No.
Oh. Sorry, I thought that was what you were suggesting.
Roll initiative.
I turned to the woman that led us here and I'm like, how did this start? How did the first child start with this?
Zarizi's, by the time you finished investigating, Zarizi's at the back with the large, pale grey-skinned chap.
Can I go to her to ask that?
Yeah, totally. So you go
I'll wait outside.
in the clean, snowy, rubbing herself.
Take a few deep breaths of clean, fresh air when I'm standing outside.
Close the door. So as you get towards
be on my way.
campaign 2, as you get to Zarizi, and she's clearly in conversation with this large pale grey-skinned gentleman. They're talking about the loss of some of the children. Like, he's clearly upset and grieving. You can see like mucky streaks where tears have been running. In his arms, you notice that he's actually carrying the body of a child that's just wrapped up, and he's come from the curtained area. And so you kind of get the end of that conversation where they're discussing about losing more of the children and like desperate times type thing. Zarizi notices you approach.
Sorry, would you be able to tell us how this started, how the first child got sick and how it carried on? Did there something they ate, something they did? Do they ever interact with anything magical or demonic? Is there any way that the children here would have interacted with anything like that?
They both look at you absolutely like, what words have you just used? There is nothing like that. They
How did it start then?
we don't know how I say start. A couple of the ones that are no longer with us now, and you see the large gentleman kind of just like bow his head a little bit. Now you stood next to him, you realise he's a good Dragor's 6'5". He's standing about 6, 7, 8, and got a few pounds heavier on Dragor, and Dragor's in armour. Yeah, the first couple when they contracted whatever this is, we weren't doing anything out of the ordinary. We take the children out into the forest, and they do small survival skills, and just to keep them, entertained. And then about maybe passing of a moon ago, they like 2 of them fell ill and got even more ill, and then they passed. And then
There was nothing about that day that stood out other than the sickness.
Nothing like what would.
I honestly don't know. I'm just trying to work out if we could work out perhaps how the first child got sick. We might be able to work out how to undo it.
Do you think it's something from the forest, like something they ate, or?
I don't. I think it's from my friends' studies of it. I think it's not something that can be treated with any herbs. As you said, it needs something more magical or religious, some sort of. I think that is the cause of the illness, so that needs to be the way to fix the illness, like a curse almost. It seems.
A curse,
like something like that. It's not like a normal illness.
Oh no, a curse, and
the part that surprises me is it's certainly contagious. How have none of the adults managed to?
Have you made your way over?
Yeah, I was there for the entire thing.
All right, cool. There's a very large, pale grey-skinned.
How have none of the adults managed to get sick? What have you got in place to prevent it spreading?
She turns to the large chap, and he just sort of leans forward and looking down at Quill. We keep clean.
Not looking at this place, you don't. Luckily, I'm not there. I'm outside.
I want to sort your fucking cleaner out, mate.
Have any of the children left this place since contracting the disease?
What do you mean left? Like,
as in gone outside of the building or outside of that fence?
Well, to start with, yes, we just thought they were ill, and then it got worse, and then obviously you can see some of the growths the children have, and we put the fence up, and the towns give us a guard.
How did you come to own this building, or how did this building come to be an orphanage? It looks awfully nice for an orphanage from the outside. Inside, more, well, less so.
It used to be a ancient burial. No, it belongs to the town. I don't know what it was used before, and I don't own the orphanage. It's just an orphanage, and people help out where they can.
Does anyone have any ideas? Turning back to her, notice that Yara's left.
She's on a side quest of her own.
I mean, We could try them with the potion, see what happens.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't either.
We could go to the forest.
Yeah.
Can you take us to where they would have played that day?
Oh, yeah, maybe, possibly. It's slightly. It's been a month, but yeah, I could definitely give it a go.
Thank you.
So, how are we going to? Is that where you want to go? You want to go to the place where the children were playing?
Turning and looking at you two.
I mean, I have nothing better to do with my time at the minute.
We could probably look for that route if we're in the forest as well. So
I'd just like to point out, Dean's having a meltdown.
something.
So, Reezy.
Let's try the forest. That sounds like a more sensible idea than, feeding.
Reezy turns to the pale grey-skinned giant type chap. I'll be back as quickly as I can. He just, okay. And she goes back with you three outside into the fresh air with Iara. Unless Iara has actually left.
No, Iara is still waiting there.
It's all right, Jen. I'll send you your own little plot.
Whee! Do, 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 do.
He's a dream walker. Comes out of the orphanage. She goes, it'll take us a couple of hours to get there, so I hope you've got food and such. Which, looking at your lot's backpacks and that, she's like, prepared.
Is there
So,
anyone
Where are we going?
We are going to the last place the children played before they got sick in the forest.
Oh, okay.
We might also find the route there, I thought, as well.
Ah. Indeed.
Is there, Ziara, anyone else that has had a vested interest in the children since they have got ill?
invested. A lady that worked for Vernon came round a couple of times and suggested to use him. She was one of his aides, so I wouldn't say invested, but she came and offered aid. And
I mean, that guy was clearly a nutter, though.
how so?
Well, he immolated himself.
He what?
He immolated himself.
What with the fire and
With
himself?
alchemist fire, yes.
I don't think that Quill should be the one in charge of delivering news.
He isn't. Just somehow is always there ahead of everyone with the
So,
news.
he's quite nippy. He's did he survive?
Well,
No.
I mean, no. How many people can survive setting themselves on fire?
You have no idea.
That's
I
why we were
haven't.
hesitant with the potion earlier. We were unsure if
He was a nutter. I mean, people who are of sound mind don't set themselves on fire. It's why we had to grab the one potion that looks like it was ready to go.
what's it going to say?
I
Next one.
I see. I have this feeling that the potion that we have would probably more likely speed up this infection to get it to its final stage, whatever that may be.
Right, let's go to the woods.
Let's do that.
Threesy's sort of just looking at
Sounds
you
like a
all.
plan.
Wonderful. And you go off. You leave Axe into the forest. It's very thick with evergreen trees around here. Massive redwoods.
Nice.
It's
Certainly, the attention sort of leaves Iara's shoulders as you walk deeper into the forest.
It is home to some of you that prefer that sort of thing. Less so for others. Yeah, massive redwood trees, greenery. I mean, for Iara's catch up, the forest itself is a good 60 to 70 miles in length. It
Nice.
is a big forest, and Axe is in the middle of it, or ish, and it is used as a merchant stop when people come through the forest from the southern mountains to the northern Lyconia, just so you know. So it's a big ass forest. Zarizi takes you out into the forest and starts to lead you on a merry little jaunt, and it takes you until about noon, 1 o'clock. You stop for something to eat. You get your rations out, chew on some, I don't know, dried apricot, whatever tickles your fancy, and you get to a quite not rocky area, but it is There's like a raised rocks, like they probably run deep, but there's only the peaks sticking out where you are in this little area. There's like a large glade alcove type thing where it backs off against some rocks, and then there's thicker shrubbery around, and it creates like a little, like I say, like a little nice gladed area. And it's about, by the time you get there, it's about 2 PM, and Zarizi here. We played here for most of the day, and there's just a very large, I don't know, a good 30 foot across.
Can I sort of walk around kind of investigating or having a look around, seeing what I can see?
Yeah, you can give me a perception check, only if you're looking.
19.
9.
9, cool. So you're looking around, having greenery beneath your toes. Ellis, you, as you're looking around, you notice where some of the rockery is and the shrubbery, like these high bushes grow. There's something amiss about where they are. Having a little look-see, moving some of the bits of shrubbery, you can see a cave entrance that is concealed and overgrown by these shrubs. Give me a nature check.
Roll. Not gonna be good. 10.
Cool. Yeah, you got a little cave with some shrubbery, or a cave entrance, and you can see that it dips down.
Okay.
Yara goes down to one knee and runs her fingers through the grass and whispers a prayer to Mother Earth.
Sexy times. The rest of you, I am assuming, see Yara do this, and Ellis moves some shrubbery. Unless Ellis is disguising it, you all see it.
Not disguising it, very much trying to show everyone.
You see a cave entrance that dips down.
Did the kids go into the cave?
I didn't even know the cave was there. We just played in this glade for several hours. We set up smaller tents, and she points at the back end of the glade. We stayed the night, told songs around a little campfire, and then we returned.
And the kids were allowed to roam, so they could have gone down into the cave.
Or something could have come.
None of them went into the cave. We didn't even know it was there. I mean, that is hidden. I'm impressed you saw it.
Drago, can you do your thing where you sense things on the cave or near the cave? Is there anything that stands out to you about it?
I can certainly try. How deep does it look?
It goes dark. It dips down.
It's pitch black.
So I can normally only sense fairly close by,
Okay.
but I can certainly do it at the entrance if you want me to.
Might be useful.
I'll head over to the entrance.
I'm going to head over to the entrance as well, and I'm going to see if I can see any tracks leading into the cave. Like children tracks.
Give me a survival check. And Eddie, are you doing your divine sense?
Divine sense.
Cool. So tracks first.
I'm going to make sure that Sansa, whatever her name is relatively close to him when he does the sensey thing.
What did you say? Investigation or survival?
Survival.
Survival. Okay.
I have suspicions.
I got her with it the first time, to be honest. And she didn't.
Did you?
Yeah.
She's a Balrog. What did you get, Jen?
Sorry, it's just because I've also got Natural Explorer, and my favoured terrain is forest, so...
Ooh. Do you get advantage on it?
I do. Your proficiency bonus is doubled.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
So your proficiency at the minute will be +4 when you're doing survival checks in.
It should, if you're using D&D Beyond, it'll automatically do it. In fact, because it's a favoured terrain, I don't think it automatically does it, because it doesn't put it on for the whole time, if that makes sense.
So I need to double what I've got now.
Double. So what is your current modifier on survival?
It's wisdom, so it's +4. So
And
it would be
that's it.
+8.
Yeah.
And then on survival. Yeah, no.
You need to add another 2.
Stop, Eddie. Stop. Your proficiency is +2. Your wisdom modifier is +4. Correct?
No, my proficiency is +2. My wisdom modifier is +2. So...
All right. So your survival is +4. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Then, as Eddie said, add 2.
Okay, so 4, 5, 6. That doesn't make much difference because it's only 10.
Brilliant.
After all of that, but at least I know for next
That'd be amazing. After all that, I got 7.
I got that.
Yeah.
I got that one. I was like, brilliant. Yeah, you don't see any other than yourself's tracks.
Okay.
Give me a Constitution saving throw.
18.
Nice. So as you're looking for tracks, the shrubbery that is closer towards the cave mouth is a slight difference in the stuff that's higher and the stuff that's lower, and you instantly realise that it's stinging nettles of a sort, and they sort of catch you, but they catch you on your armour, and you just realise at the last minute and get your hands out of the way.
Excellent.
You can easily point them out to the party to avoid.
I will
if you
indeed point out the stinging nettles and say, avoid those. You don't really want to be stung.
But you don't find any tracks. Mr. Divine Sense. Concentrate, you feel the ash snow falling on your skin. Your eyes open. There is. You sense nothing, but
Seems fine from the entrance.
I can see no tracks, but it doesn't mean that they didn't go this way.
Yeah, she said it's been a month. Perhaps it'd be quite difficult right now.
It would seem odd that this was the last place the children played, then they got sick, and there's a hidden cave, that it would have nothing to do with that, to me.
Indeed. Mysterious cave in a place of origin of mysterious illness. Yep.
Yep. There are no coincidences.
can somebody roll me a D100?
62.
Cool. That's it. Carry on.
Well, it looks like we're going into the cave.
Do I have to?
No, you'd probably be better staying here.
Okay. I haven't got a tent with me or anything. If it gets towards nightfall, should I leave or join you or?
To be honest, if you think you can head back on your own.
Oh yeah, it's only a few hours. I can probably get there for sunset maybe.
Head back now whilst you have enough daylight too. Then thank you for leading us here.
Okay, but be safe. Caves and tunnels and such.
If we find out anything, we'll come back to you, but otherwise, I think you should inquire about medicine at the Red Flask.
Thank you. I will indeed.
If
The
we
Red
don't come back,
Flask.
we're probably dead.
Okay.
Speak for yourself.
I look to Drogoth and go, what, would you just wander off, would you?
Yeah.
Without giving them answers?
If you don't come back, you're just
The
gonna
Phoenix guides me that way.
Phoenix guiding you into the pitch black cave.
Right now.
Yes, great.
Does the Phoenix provide you with light?
Pretty sure I have a torch.
Being a gnome
Excellent.
provides me with dark vision.
So those with dark vision, you still need a source of light, even minimum, to be able to see in the dark. It's not a case of pitch black and therefore you can see. So there's still an element of light that you would need to take full
Strike up a
advantage.
torch.
Butlins lights up. So a torch is 20 foot bright and 20 foot dim, is it not? Pardon?
Read the description.
So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Dragor is stood there with a flaming torch in his hand.
Oh.
Let's go.
Start walking in.
You start walking in.
Yep, follow.
Yep.
Cool.
I will go somewhere where there's a near a light source because I don't think I can see in the dark.
As you get in, as you go into the down the tunnel, Dragor, you only get about, well, you can obviously see the torchlight, and you get kind of twists and turns. You walk for about 20 feet. As you turn, you are now in a tunnel. You're in a tunnel, but you're in the mouth of a cave. Yep. In front of you is a very, I say large. It's quite a huge creature. It's bigger than you. It's got a owl face and then feathers all over it. Yep. It had its back to you, but as the light came into the cave, it's turned and seen you. As you're the first person to see it, give me a knowledge arcana check.
So glad I didn't go first through this one.
Arcana, 19.
Cool. That this is an owlbear. You've never faced one, and you've never, heard of anyone that's faced one. But being of phoenixes and their relation to owls. We'll go with that. You are very aware that they latch on, they bite, claw, and they will single out a particular prey. Yep. And then focus on it until it's dead.
Is it coming at us?
It is now. Can you all roll initiative, please?
Well,
As the torchlight shines across it,
initiative's just D20, right?
plus your dex.
6.
Cool.
Mine is -1. Cool. 9.
Okay, 6 is looking good.
I'm in
5.
8.
9 in total.
Right, slow it down, kids. Slow it down. Right. Say your numbers out loud. Becca,
6.
Dean,
9.
Eddie.
5.
Jesus Christ. Jen.
8.
Who got 9? Who got 9? Yay! Time to fight an owlbear. As you've all walked around the corner and the torchlight comes across the owlbear, Dragor nods,
Hopefully.
realizes what's facing you. You three are behind him in a bit, somewhat of a staggered single file. In front of you is a cavern area Dragor that is 20 feet across and about 25-30 feet down. You've come in from the top right, and there is a small exit in the bottom left, like diagonally across, albeit in front of you there's an owlbear. And we will pick up next session with you about to fight an owlbear.